Walking into a high-stakes corporate meeting, it can sometimes feel, well, like stepping into a psychological battlefield.
Oh, absolutely. People aren't just, rattling off spreadsheets. They're deploying very specific metaphorical language.
Right, to sort of shape reality. And if you understand the underlying strategy of that language, you instantly command the room.
Yeah, that's the real power dynamic at play here. I mean, it isn't about having a massive vocabulary. It's about knowing exactly which linguistic tool to use to, well, to shift liability or manage expectations.
Which is exactly our mission for you today on this deep dive. We're looking at a really fascinating technical slide deck.
Right, the one titled TD0035 Technical Discussions.
Yes, that one. And we're unpacking 5 essential English idioms used in these high-stakes environments. Not to define them, obviously, because we all know what they mean.
Right, we're looking at how they are weaponized to make you a more effective negotiator and leader.
Exactly. So let's just start with the classic, the elephant in the room.
Oh, the ultimate tension breaker.
Yeah, look, everyone knows this is the massive problem nobody wants to discuss. But the TD0035 deck highlights this really crucial engineering scenario.
Right, where a team is paralyzed because their current manufacturing equipment is simply too old for a new design.
And pointing this out in that environment feels like career suicide. It's like, I don't know, ignoring a massive leak in a boat just because it feels awkward to interrupt the captain.
That's a great analogy, and that is precisely why the idiom is so incredibly useful there. Think about the mechanism. By calling it an elephant, you depersonalize the failure.
Oh, I see. You aren't attacking a specific manager's poor maintenance schedule.
Exactly. You are pointing at a neutral, external beast that everyone is suffering from. It provides a psychologically safe way to acknowledge reality without pointing fingers.
That makes total sense. I notice in the source material, though, that the relief is pretty temporary. Naming the animal is step one, but, someone actually has to grab the shovel.
Yeah, nature abhors a leadership vacuum.
Which leads right into the deck's analysis of our next phrase, which is stepping up to the plate.
Right, stepping up to the plate. So in the deck's scenario, a project lead abruptly resigns, and a team member named Jason steps up to the plate and manages the crisis.
Wait, so what's the actual strategy there? Just working hard.
No, what's crucial here isn't just that Jason worked hard, it's that he leveraged a moment of systemic chaos to seize authority.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, in corporate dynamics, stepping up during a crisis is basically the fastest way to rewrite the org chart without getting a formal promotion.
So Jason has seized authority. He's taken charge of a failing project. But fixing a doomed project almost always requires asking vendors for favors.
Or renegotiating contracts, yeah.
Right. So how does the deck suggest navigating that friction? By, quote, sweetening the deal.
Yeah, the underlying psychology of sweetening the deal relies heavily on the principle of reciprocity.
Like the example they give of the supplier throwing in a 2-year free maintenance package.
Exactly. They aren't just being generous. By offering something with a high perceived value but a relatively low marginal cost to them, they trigger a psychological obligation.
An obligation for you to sign the primary high-cost contract. It's a strategic concession.
Precisely. And once that contract is signed and the engineering work actually begins, the deck shifts to tracking progress with the phrase out of the woods.
Right, out of the woods. And the specific example they use is an engine passing a brutal 48-hour stress test.
Yeah, a major milestone.
But wait, let me push back on this a little bit. If my engine survives a 48-hour stress test, I mean, I am absolutely popping the champagne.
Most people would.
But TD0005 specifically warns that the team is not out of the woods until the field test is complete. Is this phrase just like a polite corporate mechanism to enforce paranoia?
Honestly, that is a perfect way to look at it. It is weaponized paranoia. Yeah, out of the woods is a strategic tool to manage stakeholder expectations. You are simultaneously validating the team's hard work, surviving the immediate threat, while legally and professionally covering yourself.
By stating the mission isn't over yet.
Exactly. It prevents executives from reallocating your budget prematurely.
That makes so much sense. And that right there, that intense boardroom pressure to declare the project out of the woods so everyone can move on, that is exactly what tempts engineering teams to make dangerous compromises.
Which brings us to cutting corners.
Right. We all know what cutting corners means, but the TD0035 deck frames this specifically around high-pressure valves.
And this is where the language really shifts from business strategy to life safety. The deck argues forcefully against cutting corners on rigorous safety testing.
Because the consequences are so huge.
Yeah, the insight here is about causality. In high-stakes technical environments, cutting a corner isn't a financial cheat code.
Right, you don't actually save money.
No, you are merely transferring the cost from the R&D budget directly to your catastrophic liability column.
Wow. It's the exact moment a business risk transforms into a structural failure. You bypass a standard procedure today, and tomorrow you're dealing with an exploded valve.
It's terrifying when you frame it like that.
It really is. So
Haha.
what does this look like when we pull it all together? These 5 phrases basically form a complete strategic blueprint.
They do.
You use the elephant in the room to safely expose a fatal flaw, like outdated machinery. You step up to the plate to fill the resulting leadership vacuum.
You trigger reciprocity to sweeten the deal with nervous vendors.
Exactly. You deploy out of the woods to manage executive paranoia, and you utterly refuse to cut corners to prevent a financial risk from becoming a disaster.
It fundamentally changes how you listen in a meeting, doesn't it? You stop hearing cliches and start hearing the actual mechanics of corporate leverage.
Exactly. So here's a thought to take with you to your next high-stakes meeting. We've spent this whole time analyzing the idioms you can use to command a room.
But you need to flip the script.
Yes, flip the script. Pay close attention to the metaphors your vendors or your competitors are throwing casually into conversation. What secret code are they speaking? And more importantly, what strategy are they telegraphing right in front of you?